Hello everyone. This is the second part in a series of videos regarding to permanent residence application for protected person convention refugee. And in this video today specifically, I will instruct you of how to fill the IMM 0008 form. That is a generic application form for Canada, and this form is mandatory for all programs. Alright, so let's get started. Now you have to log inside the permanent residence portal, and then you put your username and the password that we created before, and then hit on the sign in. So guys, here is the application that we created before for in Canada protected person. Alright, so let's click in view so that we can fill out the form in here. Alright, so here you go guys. Here is the forms, including the digital forms, and also we have the PDF forms. All right, but in here we can go one by one, and in today I will do that IMM 0008. That is a generic application form for Canada. Let's click in here, edit. Okay, and in this generic application form, you will need to provide the language preference, the number of family members included in the application, and other personal details. All right, and if you have any dependents like accompanying or non-accompanying, then this information will also be needed for them. All right, so let's click in here, continue. All right, so that is the form, the application details, and the correspondence. It will be in default that you select the English or French from the beginning. All right, and number two, that is the interview. If you select the English in interview, then you don't need to request an interpreter. However, if that is the language that you speak, and then you will need to put an interpreter requested in here. All right. For example, if that is in English, then you select no. All right, but if you select your language, for example, in my case, the Vietnamese, that is my language, then in here you need to select the yes, because the IRCC officer, they don't speak Vietnamese, but they speak French or English. Okay, so interview in Vietnamese and interpreter requested, yes. And where do you plan to live in Canada? I select Ontario, and the city that I want, that is in winter. All right, and then save and continue. Okay, family names, it comes up automatically with my last name and my first name in here. Have you ever used any other names? No, I don't. Physical characteristic, the sex, that is male. Eyes color, I have the black eyes, and then 170 centimeter. All right, and the date of birth is comes up in here already, and the place of birth, or I made it up. All right, but you will have to put down exactly the place of birth in my country. And citizenship, I'm a Vietnamese, and the country citizenship in here, that is the first one, and the country in here, it is the second one. If you have only one citizenship, and then you just select the country that you have. If you don't belong to any countries, then you select stateless. Okay, stateless like this. All right, however, in my case, I select the country that I was born and I'm holding the citizenship with, and that is my only country that I have the citizenship. I don't have any other countries. All right, and the current countries of residence is supposed to be in Canada. This, and then status, I'm protected person. All right, in here. Okay, and the date and place of my last entry to Canada, that is in 2021, let's say 0101 from Toronto. Okay, and the previous country of residence, during the past 5 years, have you lived in any countries other than your country of citizenship or your current country of residence for more than 6 months? No, I don't. Okay, marital and relationship status. In here, I claim that I'm married, so in here, and then I will have to put the date that I'm married. All right. And the family names in here, that is Laura Smith, that I claimed before. If you are not sure about those things, and then you can click in my profile and you will see all the information about your wife and your child. All right. We continue. Have you previously been married or in a common law relationship? In my case, no. If you got married before, and then you select on yes, and then you need to provide the information about your ex in here with the family names, given names, date of birth, and the type of relationship in here. All right. But in my case, I don't have any ex, but that is my first marriage. All right, so I just click in here as no, and then I save and continue. All right, so number 3, that is contact information. I will need to provide mailing address in here. It comes up automatically in my profile already, so it comes up in here. And then I need to provide the primary telephone number with the type, the cell 519. Okay, just put it there, and then that is the only telephone number that I have, and then I don't have any faxing number. And do you want us to contact you using the email address? Yes, I prefer email. Then after that, we save and continue. Okay, and that is the passport information. Do you have a valid passport? Valid, it means that it is working now. However, because in my case, I came to Canada as a refugee claimant, and then the officer took my passport, and then they gave me a copy, certified true copy of my passport. So with that passport, I cannot travel. So that is invalid. So with the invalid, I have to say I don't have the valid passport. Okay, but if you have, and then save and continue. Hold on 1 second. Let's go back in here. If you have a valid passport, most likely you don't have. However, if you have, then you click on yes, and then you provide all the information in here with the passport number, the country of issues, the issue date, and expiry date, and then save continue. All right, in case that you have, but no, and then you save and continue. All right. National identity document, if you have, then the same thing with passport. If you have, then you select on yes, and then you claim everything in here. But I don't have, then I click on no, and then save and continue. All right. Number 6, that is education and occupation detail. In here, I have to select the highest levels of education. Let's say I have like secondary or less in here, but you will need to read all those education, and then select the one that applies to your situation. All right, number of education, I got like 6 years of education only. And then the occupation information, I am a welder now. Intended occupations, also I want to work in the welding. All right. And then save and continue. For some people in here, if they are like, for example, they are unemployed, so they just put in here is not working or unemployed in here in the current occupation. And then intended occupation, you can put it like teaching assistant, cook, hairstylist, nail polisson, something like that. Okay, but you need to put something in here, right? And then save and continue. All right, number 7 in here, part 7, the native language. I speak Vietnamese. Are you able to communicate in English or French? Yes. Okay, like let's say English. If you don't, if you are unable to communicate, and then you select neither, right? But in my case, I select English. And have you taken a test from a designated testing agency to assess your English or French skills? No, I don't have anything. Okay, it's not assessed yet. Save and continue. Now it comes to dependents. That is my wife and my son. All right, the wife is Laura Smith. That is her date of birth. and my son Peter Smith, that is his date of birth. All right. And then I will need to click in the edit so that they can have all the informations about my dependents. All right. And those people's name, it comes up in my profile in here. For example, I click in here for you. All right. You can see in down here the spouse, partner, or dependents profiles, and here that is the spouse, and then here is the child's name. So all you can see is in here. All right. If for some reason that you miss the information about the child, about stepchild or adopted child, then you can add the dependent in here. All right. So just click in add the dependent, and then answer the questions of is the dependent accompanying you, and then you can select yes or no. All right. But however, all the information about spouse, your partner, or dependents profiles need to be entered in here. All right. Let's say no, and then that is the stepchild, for example, stepchild, and then the family member, you can put the name like last name Nguyen, like Ali, for example, and then you can put the date of birth in here like 2021 and then 001, something like that, and then you save the details. But in my case, I don't have anything, so I just cancel that. But just to let you know that in case that you have a stepchild, or even if you have that adopted child, then you have to put it in here. All right. So later on, you can have a sponsorship, for example. All right. But for now, I just cancel that so that I can go back to John Smith application. Like this application, and then we continue with that IMM generic forms. Let's go back again and again. It takes time, all right. However, I just want to scroll down and explain to you where you can look for that information. So when you fill the form, be patient, all right. Okay, dependent here. Let's click on the edit. Okay. Dependent 1. Personal details. Will this dependents accompany the principal applicants to Canada? I select yes already from the beginning in the profile. Okay, you can check it out later. And then in here the relationship, that is spouse, and family name, that is Smith, and given names Laura, and you have to answer have you ever used any other names in Laura Smith? No. And physical, that is female, eyes color, let's say black, 160 centimeter. Date of birth, it will comes up automatically here in the profile already. Okay, and then place of birth, let's say Hanoi, and then country of birth, that is Vietnam. Okay, but in here again you have to select the place of birth exactly where that person was born, and country of birth as well. Okay, and the citizenship, she is Vietnamese, and then other country she doesn't have, that is the only country of citizenship that she has. But in case that that person is stateless, and then you can select stateless. Okay, and the current country of residence, she is living in Canada now. Okay, and status, again, that is a protected person, and the date and place of your last entry to Canada, 2021-01-01. Okay, and place, that is in Toronto, and the previous countries of residence. During the past 5 years, have you lived in any countries other than your country of citizenship or current countries for more than 6 months? No. Marital status, it is married. Okay, and then the date of marriage with John Smith and Laura Smith. Okay, and the family names of the spouse, that is Smith and John. Have you been married before or in a common law relationship? No. Okay, and then after that we continue. Next part is the education and occupation details. All right, and here again you select the highest level of education of that person. Let's say she has none at all, and then we can put it as 0. An occupation, current one, that is unemployed, not working. Intended occupation, she doesn't want to work. Housewife, continue. And then the language detail, that is Vietnamese. Are you able to communicate in English or French? Neither. Have you taken a test from a designated testing agency? No. And then continue. All right. Do you have a valid passport, travel document? No, she doesn't have. Because when she came to Canada and then she claimed for refugee claimant, and the officer took her passport and just gave her a certified true copy of the passport, and so it means that she doesn't have the valid passport but invalid passport. All right, and then continue. Do you have a national identity document? No. And then save and continue. All right, so now we just scroll down, and then here we can see the status of Laura Smith is complete. All right, and also in here the message for dependent in the generic application forms for Canada is you must provide all details about each of your family members, whether they will come with you to Canada or not. All right, because if you don't list them on your applications, then you will not be able to sponsor them later if your situation change. All right, so now let's go to Peter Smith, who is a son of John Smith. Just click in here with the edit, and then we can see the personal details and all of the part in here. Okay, personal details, it will comes up automatically when we create the profile for John Smith. With the relationship to principal applicant, that is a child. Family name Smith, given name Peter. Have you ever used any other name? No. The UCI number, all right, so the UCI number, you can see that in the notice of decision, and then you can see it in here, and then you can put down. Okay, and then the physical characteristic is male, eyes color, let's say black, the height 150, birth information, the birth date of birth, it will comes up automatically in here, right? And the place of birth, let's say in Hanoi. In country of birth, that is Vietnam. Citizenship, he is holding citizenship in Vietnam and no other country. All right, and the current country of residence, that is in Canada now. Status, protected person. Date and place blood entry to Canada. Place, Toronto. And then previous country of residence for more than 6 months. No. Marital status, he's never married. He's so young. Okay. And have you been, like, when you choose single, and then it will comes up automatically with the no in here, and then continue. The highest education, that is less than secondary school. Let's say 4 years of education in total. And this one, we can put him as student. Intended occupation as student as well. All right, and then continue. Okay, so now let's move to the language details. The native language, that is Vietnamese, and are you able to communicate in English? English, all right. And have you taken a test from a designated testing agency? No. He's a child. He doesn't need to. So again, with these details about the passport, do you have a valid passport or travel document? most likely say no, because when you came to Canada as a refugee claimant and then the officer took the passport already, they keep it, and then for now all you have is a certified true copy of your passport. All right, so in here is that person doesn't have a valid passport, but an invalid passport. Okay, so in here the answer is no. Continue. National identity document, he doesn't have that, and then save and continue. All right, so for both Laura Smith and Peter Smith we complete already. Now let's click in here, complete, and return to application. All right, so if you see that you will need to edit anything in any of those dependents, then you can click in the edit and then you edit it. All right, but now let's assume that everything in here is correct and accurate, then we complete and return to application. So all right, so here you go, guys. In the form IMM 0008, the status changed from in progress to ready to submit. Okay, so it means that everything here we fill out already. And that's it for today, guys. And I hope you enjoy it, and please watch out for my other videos coming soon. All right, bye bye and have a good day.